All right, little instant reaction. Chargers, Dolphins. I'm going to sit back, open a cold brew, and watch that one and enjoy it. So I want to talk about 3 or 4 games from the early window today. Let's start with one of the earliest games, Detroit and the Vikings. I had picked Detroit to win that game straight out, even though I like Minnesota a lot. The Lions right now, when's the last time I've ever led anything with the Lions? But they're really a dangerous team now because they're talented and have nothing to lose. I thought they made 2 play calls in that game, one on a fake punt, one on 3rd and 7 late throwing to a tackle, which really sums up what the Lions are right now. House money. Nothing to lose. And oftentimes you'll get a team like that with nothing to lose, but they're led by smart coaching or the defense. No, this team's led by offense, which is why they're kind of scary. Usually the last team to sneak into the playoffs. Remember the Taylor Heineke Washington team that faced Brady? I don't know if they were the last team to get in, but it's usually a limited team. You don't feel like they could really go toe-to-toe with any of the big dogs. But in the NFC this year, the Niners now have a backup quarterback outside of Philadelphia. Could the Lions not go toe-to-toe in a shootout with anybody in the NFC? They're not going to go toe-to-toe with Mahomes or Buffalo, Joe Burrow. But in the NFC, Detroit is a handful, and they're playing so hyper-aggressively with such a not reckless, but such a hyper-aggressive style that they sneak into the playoffs. That is going to be, you could see them going down to Tampa in reasonably warm weather with old Brady and a defensive head coach they clearly don't align. Detroit is the most fun I've ever had watching a slightly better than average football team. And they really sum up 2022 football. Flaws everywhere. We're not sure they have a good coach, but they can score. And they got really good backs, tight end, a receiver, a capable quarterback. All right, let's talk about the 49ers and Tampa Bay. It's pretty clear in Tom Brady's career at this point at 45 years old, he needs a lot of help, which is why I think going to a San Francisco is really attractive, is that Brady with a defensive head coach and an average offensive line looks incredibly washed. It's over. He missed a Mike Evans back shoulder throw in the end zone, interceptions. He doesn't move well at all. Brady's at the point in his career, like anybody. You could be an old journalist. You could be an old politician. You need a bigger staff. You don't have the energy of a younger person. You need a better support staff. Brady right now against a good defense with his staff and his line, he's bad. You know what he is? It's a little bit. Remember when Tim Tebow would be awful, except for the final drive of the game? Well, the final drive of the game, defense is going to prevent. They're on the field for 4 straight minutes. There's no huddling, right? So that's a very vulnerable defense. Brady was great Monday Night Football against the Saints, only in the final 2 drives when the Saints are playing prevent. That's a little bit what Brady looks like now. He looks like a really talented Tebow, where if you put pressure on him, he's got to move. You take away his number 1. He doesn't have a great running game behind him. He can't move the football. I mean, I've seen this like 4 or 5 times this year. He just can't move the football. There's no juice left. He needs massive support. Why? I believe he will look at the Niners in the offseason. Let's talk about the Niners. So I've said this for years. You can judge what a coaching staff thinks of a quarterback by the plays they call and the game plan they design. There were a couple of big play calls by Kyle Shanahan of the Niners. He believes in Brock Purdy. Maybe not more than Jimmy Garoppolo, but as much as Jimmy Garoppolo. And here's the thing. There's 130 Division I football programs. Brock Purdy, who was offered by Alabama, started for 4 years at a Power 5 college football program that had some big wins and went to bowl games. Brock Purdy is a really talented athlete. He misses on some easy stuff. He can get out of rhythm. He needs to be in a rhythm. He needs protection. But this offense does not ask a lot of Brock Purdy. And, the one thing about the Niners this year, whether it's Purdy, maybe Trey Lance next year, or Jimmy Garoppolo, we don't think any are elite. When the Niners went out and got Christian McCaffrey, there was a lot of stress or anxiety about the draft picks. But remember, who are the two biggest offensive stars before Christian McCaffrey got there? Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. One of the things I think Kyle Shanahan thought about is, listen, I've got three very physical guys, Deebo, McCaffrey for his size, and Kittle. If I can have two of them in the playoffs, that is enough with our defense and special teams to win. So when Deebo went down today, it was just a gut punch because he's such a good kid and he's so much fun to watch. But this is another reason they brought Christian McCaffrey in. They play a really physical style of football. And yards after the catch, these guys are banging into people and they get hurt. So you just can't have enough skill people for this team. Third game, and this is not a game I thought I would talk about. I thought Carolina would beat Seattle. I'm going to pat myself in the back. I picked Carolina to beat Seattle. But it's really interesting. I suggested last week on FS1, I said, is this crazy? Seattle has 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 fourths, and a third round pick. That's 7 quality picks. All right, get down to the 5th round, 6th round, 7th round. The numbers go down in terms of making an NFL team. But that's 7 quality picks. Is it crazy to call Green Bay and give away a third for Jordan Love? You watched Geno Smith today. If you did, he was often the second best quarterback on the field. Sam Darnold was a highly efficient 15 of 25, 130 yards, a touchdown, no picks, behind a bad O-line. Geno Smith was about 50% with 2 picks, behind better protection. The minute he doesn't have a great run game, Geno Smith is a really average quarterback. So Seattle doesn't have a ton of needs, but they have 2 or 3 needs on this team. An interior defensive lineman. If they draft 3rd, they have Denver's pick. Georgia's got that. They need a center in the 2nd round. There's one from Minnesota. I think there's one from Georgia. I think they could use an outside linebacker, maybe another receiver. But if they could fill those with the first 3 to 4 picks, I'd give up a 3rd or a 4th for Jordan Love. He would be a 25-year-old next year in the league. Geno starts, Jordan Love behind him. I think if I'm Seattle, I look at this roster and I think, you only have 2 or 3 needs. I don't know if these college quarterbacks, I don't see it. 2 of them, Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, look like major projects to me, and Bryce Young is small and thin. I don't know, man. Jordan Love for a 3rd or one of your 4th round picks, but I'm watching Seattle today without the run game. Sam Darnold is toe-to-toe with Geno Smith. I would not want to give up one of my first 2 picks for one of these college quarterbacks with this roster. They need a D-line, interior D-lineman, a center, maybe an outside linebacker or another receiver. Seattle is ready to play at a pretty high level. If you're like most men, you want to be confident and you want to look good. But finding accessories that are both high quality and stylish, it can be a challenge. That's where our friends at Vincero come in. Accessories, watches, sunglasses, jewelry. Their top-tier designs are sleek and exude class. So if you're looking to stand out from the rest, it's simple. Vincero is the way to go. At Vincero Collective, their mission is simple. Build premium products that can be worn daily, yet are built to last. They design all their products in-house, in small batches, without sacrificing on style. Not only does Vincero make fantastic watches. They also offer a line of iconic sunglasses. All of their sunglasses are polarized and scratch resistant. And all the glasses are made with high quality Italian acetate and steel hinges. Vincero is the absolute perfect gift for yourself or somebody you love. Whether you're shopping for a watch, sunglasses, jewelry, you'll find that special something with Vincero Collective. For a limited time only, limited 20% off and free shipping with our exclusive code Cowherd at vincerocollective.com/Cowherd. Get 20% off and free shipping site-wide with a code Cowherd at vincerocollective.com. Support our show. Use the code Cowherd at VINCERO collective.com. Accessorize your life with style at Vincero. Okay. So whenever I do these instant reactions, it's almost like I'm contractually obligated to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. So, I watched the game against the Texans. And, the first thing in this league, you can't worry. This is not college football where it's a beauty contest. You're trying to impress a committee who sits in a room and watches your games, right? There's an argument to be made in college football for piling on. That's not what the NFL is. Nobody cares. The Dallas Cowboys won. I don't care what it looked like. The Dallas Cowboys won. Of course. Houston has pride. They're professional players. They were a 17.5-point underdog. I mean, that's an absurd number. I mean, the Jets were a ridiculous number against Buffalo. Now, they were running through quarterbacks, but it was not surprising that Houston was going to play a really inspired game of football. Also, Dallas, I think, always gets into trouble when they ask Dak Prescott to throw 40 times a game. That is not when Dallas is at its best. I know there's a lot of Dak fanboys out there. To me, he is at his best when you ask him to throw 28 to 30 times and lean on the run game. You start asking him to throw 38 to 40 to 42 times, you're bound to get more mistakes. This is not college football. Dallas ran the ball pretty well, about 4 yards a carry for their top two backs. They got the ball to Schultz, their tight end, to CeeDee Lamb. They got the ball to the right people. But so much of defense is about juice and energy and conviction. Offense is choreography. Defense is about effort. Are you inspired? I don't think Dallas's defense played with the same edge that they have played with earlier this season in bigger games. So I don't look at that. That's a game that most teams in this league lose. Seriously, start looking around. Kansas City lost the Colts this year. Kansas City struggled with Denver today. So Dallas got out of that thing with a W. They needed a big drive late. They got it. They got the touchdown, and they won. That's good enough. Final thought on the Heisman, Caleb Williams winning it for USC. I was encouraged to see that voters in the Midwest and the South actually voted for a USC quarterback who lost badly in his last game out. My knock on the Heisman has always been it's way too regionalized, which college football can be. I didn't think it was close. I thought Caleb Williams was, if I would have had a ballot, number 1, TCU quarterback 2, don't really care about 3. But years and years ago, I had a Heisman vote. And then after I made the vote, my guy didn't win. He finished like 3rd. I think I voted for Eric Bieniemy, if I recall. I think he finished 3rd in the voting. He was a Colorado running back. And I remember discovering who people had voted for. And I was so discouraged by how regional it was that I just said, I don't want to be part of it. And it's not like having a Heisman vote unless you're a college football guy. College football writer is it's not that coveted. There's a lot of votes out there. But I did think it spoke highly of the voters that they could look past. I thought Caleb Williams, despite being injured against Utah, playing on one leg, gave a fairly decent and heroic effort. And I thought that was part of his story this year, how much he had to carry his team to the point where he got injured. There's a lot of good quarterbacks out there, but Stetson Bennett had lots of support from his defense. Caleb Williams did not. He single-handedly took this team to several close wins this year, big drives, big second halves. So really happy for him, and I think the voters got it right. Little instant reaction on an early Sunday evening. See you tomorrow on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1.